Drugs like Wegovy, Ozempic, and more have become all the rage these days, helping thousands and thousands of people lose weight. But this class of drugs, these GLP-1s, they may have other important uses, and that's the focus of a nationwide study by ICOR Research of Syracuse. Joining us now, ICOR President Lisa Sonneborn. Lisa, good to see you again.
Hey, it's nice to see you.
We talked last spring about a study ICOR was conducting on GLP-1 for other uses, including alcohol-related. So what's different between the one you're launching now and the one we talked about last spring, I think it was?
Yeah, so the study we actually launched last spring was really exciting. It was looking at alcohol use disorder and understanding how a GLP-1 affected cravings and consumption of alcohol. And now what we're doing is we're running a study to understand how a GLP-1 can actually impact or potentially reverse liver damage that has occurred as a result of long-term chronic alcohol use. So really the thing that we are setting, that end point, is a little bit different.
Okay, yeah, so I was going to say we're kind of drilling down a little bit more.
Yes, we are.
Do you keep learning new things as you do these studies? Would you expect possibly to learn something new with this current study you're doing now?
Yeah, so every time we do a study, there's typically one thing that you kind of target and focus on. So in this case, it is that liver damage piece. But the other thing we try to do, and is very common in GLP-1 studies, is to understand and gather as much data as you can about other things that are happening. The common things, as you can imagine, that we continue to gather information on are things having to do with weight loss and metabolism, and generally how a person feels and kind of what their response to those medications are. So we gather all sorts of data in addition to that kind of one area of focus.
You need people for these studies. So for this particular one, that again, the focus is on liver disease related to alcohol use. How many people do you need for this trial? How can people sign up? Are you going to try to concentrate on local people, or does it go wide? Tell me about the study. Who do you need? How many?
So this is a nationwide study, and we are one of 34 different research sites across the country, all working together. However, the study is only going to accept 100 participants across the U.S. So when we're looking in our community, what we're doing is trying to find qualified individuals. And in this case, that means people who have at least a 3-year history of moderate to heavy alcohol use, who are interested in being a part of a study. And the other thing that's interesting here, as we kind of reach out to our community, is that we're seeing that we get a lot of response and a lot of interest, but not everyone is really a qualified candidate. So we need to understand if your behaviors of drinking are the right match for the study, and if medically you're the right match for the study. So when people reach out to us, and they can go right to our website at icorclinic.com, we have a conversation with them about who they are, a little bit about their history with alcohol, also ask them some liver questions to understand if this might be a good fit.
What's the basic commitment here? How long would you need them to be enrolled in this study?
Individuals who qualify, the typical kind of enrollment or involvement is a little bit over a year long. So we really are taking the time to understand over the course of a year whether or not this novel GLP-1, because it is not one that's on the market, it's still investigational, can have that ability to reduce some of those signs of damage in their liver.
Time for one last one. I got about maybe a little less than a minute left. What's it like when you see a drug like this? And maybe it happens more, you're closer to this than I am and a lot of people in the public, but you see almost this like wonder drug. You're like, it's first treating diabetes, then it's weight loss, now it's all these other things. I mean, what's that like in your world to see something like this?
So it's, I will say, it's not the first time. We have seen cases in the past of drugs that end up getting used in a lot of different therapeutic areas. But as a researcher, seeing a drug like this that's spanning so many different and diverse therapeutic areas and indications, right? So many different diseases are being studied and how GLP-1s could potentially affect or help them. It is really interesting, and the volume of different indications that we think there may be impact on here is certainly kind of a standout in GLP-1s in terms of comparing to things we've seen in the past. So it's very exciting. You know, we're seeing it everywhere from cardiovascular health, substance use disorders, liver health, even, psychiatric and mental health conditions are being studied. So it's a very, very exciting thing to see one drug that could potentially have benefit to so many different disease states and so many people.
Lisa, always great catching up with you. We'll do this again soon.
Thank you.
Download the WSYR Plus app on your TV to stream News Channel 9 for free. Just go to your smart TV, search WSYR Plus in the App Store, and download to start streaming today.